where do you begin a conversation with a person who says, look, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But yeah, I'm good, thanks. I don't need medieval superstition mumbo jumbo, which sounds very much like what you're offering.
Yeah, it's such a great question. And I think that's exactly what some of the things that we're just thinking about at the moment is how to go about starting conversations like that. And often, I mean, I don't know what you think, Tim. I think there are questions that we can ask. Sometimes that apathy is created as a result of Christians pretty much just talking at people for quite a long time. And so one of the things that I found quite helpful to do is there are just 3 questions. And one of them is asking, have you ever wondered? So really nobody's actually that apathetic. There are things that we all care about very deeply, that we have these ultimate commitments that every person holds to. And it's really just trying to first listen, Proverbs 18, to talk to talk without listen is a person's folly and shame. And so firstly, like listening to others, but you can only listen to people if you know them well and you're in some kind of friendship with them. And so I think it's listening to them as you start thinking about the bigger issues. So it might not be immediately talking about God. It might actually be talking about something in the paper to begin with. For example, I was at a spa and I was with a friend, and she was, we were outside. I was just lounging about. It was really lovely. It was idyllic, and so idyllic that I think I was actually on Twitter at the time, and I found this article. Except there was a Christian doctor who'd been convicted for calling a baby a human being in the womb, and I just thought, oh, this is obviously outrageous. Obviously, my friend is going to agree with me that, why has this person been convicted for saying what is patently obvious, that this is a human being in utero. It's not a dog, it's not a cat, it's a human being. And I think I remember I showed it to her and I thought, oh gosh, this is quite interesting. This, doctor, no. And just, she was so peaceful. And just in that moment, she just erupted. And she's like, why on earth do you have to bring something like that up right now? We're having such a nice time. I thought, I'm so sorry. I didn't at all mean to ignite anything. I just thought, it's like, yeah, well, I just don't want to have a debate right now. I just, it doesn't matter, what I think about this. I was like, oh, but, I do care about what you think about this. She's like, no, we're just leave it. Like, we're having such a nice time. Let's just forget about it. So I did. And then, later on, after she'd calmed down, we were talking about other things. I said to her, "Why? I noticed that you responded quite strongly there. Why do you think that was?" And she just said, "Yeah, I think I just feel like I have to have an opinion on everything." And I just thought that was quite revealing on a couple of levels, because the apathy stuff links in with something that the Greeks have this fancy word for it, which was ataraxia, which is this freedom from stress and worry. And so a lot of the apathy kind of hinges on this desire to just not to be mentally agitated. I don't need to have an opinion on everything. And that was what she was pursuing, was that kind of sense of just peacefulness. But also it revealed something else, which was that it was a particular view of knowing, that I was expecting her to have an answer on an article rather than it opening up a conversation. And so again, I think that just shows that there's just such a polarized and almost just like a tribalism that has kind of grown up, that what you say, you have to say with certitude, and what you say also reveals your cards of where you stand on particular things. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. So really what you're talking about is knowing, like, do you think we have to be certain before we can express an opinion on something? So I started with those questions of what do you mean by that? Why did you say that? And then I could move the conversation on later, and by asking her things, like, have you ever wondered ... and we could talk about that article. And why did you say that? So I think those kind of short questions can open up a lot in a conversation where you know and you've listened to the other person beforehand.
Tell us a bit more about this kind of apathy, because I know that it's something you're finding, aren't you, as you're engaging particularly with evangelism among university students and a kind of a rising generation, and engaging with church leaders about it. So tell us what you see going on, and some more ways in which you think there are helpful ways in which we can begin to open up a conversation.
Yeah, well, thank you, Tim. I think it's something that it's still evolving in some ways, because of course there are human beings that are in front of us, and so not everybody will be as hardened in their apathy as every other person. One of the ways I think particular communities do it well is by being a community, and whether that's kind of churches or whether that's groups of Christians on campuses, is by inviting people in to taste the quality of redeemed relationships in community with one another, that also just shows off the credibility of the Christian faith. And that is a great way of, I think C.S. Lewis was talking about, just sneaking behind the dragons, the watchful dragons that are set over our hearts. You need to go around the back. You can sneak around those sleeping dragons, those watchful dragons, by bringing them into community like that, because that isn't the place where where if you do have that kind of lingering either resentment or questioning or just desire to switch off, it's as you see people interacting with one another that just very slowly starts to wear down one's defences, and it opens people up to then ask questions. So then you're more in 1 Peter kind of territory and thinking about, well, why do you believe this stuff? Give me a reason for the hope that you have.
Okay. Yeah.